Now at 10, the nation takes a somber look back at the terrorist attack that left nearly 3,000 dead 22 years ago. Plus, a retired Navy captain recounts his own personal story during the Pentagon attack on 9/11. And 9/11's a day many Americans will never forget, but what does the day mean to Generation Z?
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
We all need the rain, and tonight pretty much all of us are getting it. This is KOAM News at 10. I'm Dow Quick. Meteorologist Sam Lane joins us with a first look at the weather.
Yes, it is such a pleasure to show you this radar loop in motion over the last 4 hours. You can see the rain has been making steady progress from west to east across our area. Now starting to depart, but we still have some ongoing rain in southwestern Missouri. In fact, some of the heavier showers are just now east of Interstate 49, south and east of Carthage, moving over towards Mount Vernon and Monette, stretching on down to near Neosho, all the way down into western McDonald County. And we're going to see the rain continue for a little bit longer as temperatures are going to stay right where they are, generally in the lower 60s to about 60 degrees by tomorrow morning. One good thing about the rainfall too is it not only helping the drought situation, but also the pollen, as it's been kind of bad. 9 today out of 12, most of that being ragweed, nettle, and chenopod. Tomorrow will drop down to about 4. And looking down the lane, we have the rain tonight, Thursday showers and below normal temperatures all week, but a pleasant weekend in store, and I'll have all the details on that in just a little while.
See you soon. Americans are marking 22 years since the September 11th terrorist attacks forever changed our nation. We're going to look at how 4-staters are recognizing the anniversary in a bit. But first, we hear from reporter Jared Hill in New York.
In Lower Manhattan, Shanksville, Pennsylvania, and at the Pentagon, the sound of bells mixed with tearful moments of silence marked grief and remembrance 22 years after the September 11th terror attacks.
22 years ago today, we lost my sister, Gabby. The phrase never forget has become synonymous with the day.
At New York's Ground Zero, the names of those who died in the worst terror attack in modern U.S. history were read as families gathered to pay tribute. On Long Island, families and friends of 9/11 victims threw flowers into the ocean.
That's my cousin Charles. He passed away in the South Tower. He was an electrician for P.E. Stone. He went to work. It was his second day there.
President Biden took part in a memorial ceremony with troops at a military base in Alaska.
That's why the terrorists targeted us in the first place. Our freedom, our openness, our institutions, they failed, but we must remain vigilant.
First Lady Jill Biden laid a wreath at the Pentagon. In Shanksville, relatives left flowers at the memorial wall for victims of Flight 93, which crashed when passengers tried to overtake the hijackers. The death toll has continued to rise since the day of the attacks. After the Twin Towers' horrific collapse, hundreds of thousands of people in Lower Manhattan, including first responders, were exposed to toxic air and debris. Jared Hill, CBS News, New York.
The painstaking process of positively identifying the remains of those killed at the World Trade Center continues more than 2 decades after that attack. With advancements in DNA technology, remains of 2 victims were ID'd just last week. Neodesha High School students opened a luncheon with the national anthem in appreciation for first responders today at St. Ignatius Catholic Church. The church fed police, firefighters, doctors, and nurses. For volunteers, it was a way to pay tribute to those first responders on 9/11.
I just hope the community recognizes the fact that, there's people out here that are doing something besides sitting home and playing on the phone. So, like I said, there's a lot of people do a lot of things, but they don't get a whole lot of recognition, and I think sometimes you need to say thank you.
The first responders were treated to a barbecue lunch. Neodesha Funeral Home also served up an appreciation lunch for first responders. This marks the 10th year the funeral home has honored local first responders with this event.
Back in 2001, it was such a tragic event and such a large loss of firemen. It's just really nice to see everybody kind of come together and support us and our profession and law enforcement as well.
Of course, many men and women went on to become firefighters or EMS or enlist in the military in the days following 9/11. Someone who remembers the events of that day all too well is retired Navy Captain Joseph Gradisher. He visited the Coleman Theater in Miami today to give a presentation about the attack on the Pentagon. At the time, Gradisher worked in the Pentagon as a spokesman in the Navy's Chief of Information Office. He was there when a plane crashed into the building.
I was on active duty at the time in the Navy's Public Affairs Office when the plane hit the building. The plane stopped short of my office by about 30 feet. So I felt the plane hit, heard it hit, and was in the area of the immediate reaction to it. So I'm out here by telling my story, it makes it real for people that only heard about it.
Before the presentation, people were able to meet Captain Gradisher and speak to him personally. Students in the ROTC at Pitt State honored victims of the terrorist attacks on the Twin Towers and the Pentagon. Pitt State ROTC marked the observance known as Patriot Day with cannon fire at 8:46 Eastern Time when an airliner hit the first World Trade Center tower, and again at 8:59 Eastern when another plane hit the second. One cadet talked about what the day means to him.
When I think about 9/11, I wasn't born yet, but it makes me angry. Makes me want to see the unification of the country again, and that 9/11 was a terrible day, but we were never more unified than we were on 9/12.
The cadets also did a push-up for every name of the victim read. We also talked with some members of Generation Z at Missouri Southern who were not yet born or were too young to remember 9/11. Prior to those terrorist attacks, airport security wasn't as stringent as it is now, but extra precautions now are the norm.
Yeah, I thought it was really funny when my mom and my sister went to Texas to see my aunt. She actually got searched, and she's like this tiny 5'2" woman, and it's just like taking no chances with her and her purse, I guess. She must have just looked like quite the criminal, but it was just crazy for me to hear that they took her away from the line and like to a separate room and just freaked her the heck out. And
before the attacks of 9/11, airport security was outsourced to private contractors. Coming up, getting a head start on Joplin's annual Empty Bowls campaign to feed the hungry. Plus, a group of MSSU students takes on the fight against on-campus food insecurity. Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt is calling for a special session specifically to deal with taxes. Stitt says he's demanding tax fairness for all Oklahomans, a tax cut, and an increase in transparency of the state budget process. He asks legislators to ultimately eliminate state income taxes for all Oklahomans. Watered Gardens in Joplin will host its 11th annual Empty Bowls event later this month. For some people, it seems just can't wait. An early bird special started today for people to buy the bowls handcrafted by local artists until the 23rd. The sales support organizations that feed people.
It keeps the momentum going, and people just like the idea that it brings the community together, which it does, and just the environment, the vibe of the Joplin Greenhouse that we're having it at this year. We are going to be receiving a percentage of the sales of the coffee from the coffee bar the evening of the event. So it's just it's a way to bring everyone together, and who doesn't love a beautiful pottery bowl that's handcrafted just for them.
You can buy a bowl early at the Joplin Greenhouse and Coffee Shop. The actual Empty Bowls event will be held at the coffee shop on September 24th. Food insecurity on college campuses is an invisible epidemic that one organization in Missouri Southern is helping to combat. KOAM's Elise Noe has more.
As college students head back to school, it can be easy to forget just how much they have on their plate. But one of the biggest struggles for students isn't what's on their plate, but what's missing from it: food. 44.9% of Missouri college students experience food insecurity as of 2021. The Lion Co-op at Missouri Southern is helping their students combat food insecurity with their food pantry.
Students can come in when they need to and kind of shop and then take what they need, and we don't really have a lot of restrictions. We ask that they take what they need for a few days and then they can come back.
There's often a stigma around food insecurity, but as grocery prices increase, so does the demand for affordable food.
And really with the cost of food being so high right now, and then just the cost of education, and many people have food insecurity, and it's nothing to be ashamed of.
Samantha White, a student intern at the co-op, sees the difference it makes with her peers on campus.
I had one student last year come to me saying last year it helped him a lot, and he's in a lot better place because of what support Lion Co-op gave to him last year.
Food insecurity and food instability are just some of the financial struggles that Missouri college students are facing, and places like the Lion Co-op help make that burden a little more easier to bear. Reporting in Joplin, Elise Noe, KOAM News.
And to learn more about the Lion Co-op, you can visit their website, mssu.edu/Lion Co-op. A little bit later, the Chiefs fans get some good news following a season opening loss to the Detroit Lions. John has details coming up in sports.
And we have some good news as far as the weather is concerned. I'll let you know what that means in the forecast when we come back. Well, we had a pretty nice weekend across the 4 states with lots of sunshine and pleasant temperatures. And then today for Patriot Day, the clouds have rolled in and some rainfall. But of course, we need the rain as we're in a severe drought, and I don't think anyone was really going to complain about the rain today. Let's start out this morning at Seneca, Missouri to Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. You can see the clouds really increasing from west to east today, and then as the evening progressed, we started to see the rain rolling in across our area, dumping quite a bit of rain in some areas. We made it up to 75 after a start of 64 degrees and averaged out below normal today. But look at the rainfall, minus 11 inches just this year, and we've picked about a third of an inch of rain so far today on the update. You can see on the radar right now, we have most of the rain now moving out of southeastern Kansas into southwestern Missouri from around Mount Vernon to Monette, some of the heavier showers down to Cassville. Also a little bit of activity in northwestern Arkansas for our friends in Benton County. Let's zoom in on the strongest storms or strongest showers from near Miller to just west of Mount Vernon down to Monette. That's moving towards the east, so folks in Aurora and Mount Vernon will start to see that. And over the last year here in Joplin, this just kind of goes to show you how bad the drought is. If we go all the way back to January 1 of 2022, we're supposed to have 78 inches of rainfall. We've only had 65, so that's a deficit of 13 3/4 of an inch. And since last year, next week will be the 1-year anniversary of below normal rainfall for an entire year. That's extremely unusual. And you can see the drought situation is not getting any better. In fact, it's still exceptional for Chautauqua and Elk counties, also a sliver of Montgomery County, and also severe drought up in Vernon County as well as Cedar County. Temperatures right now are in the 60s with the rain-cooled air, 63 in Neodesha, 65 in Yates Center, as well as Parsons and in Anderson. And rainfall amounts are going to be dropping, or rainfall chances tonight as we go into the overnight hours, and then by tomorrow it will be all gone. In fact, here's a look at the system in the upper levels. You can see it moving by tonight, but in its wake we're going to have some cooler fall-like weather moving in with lows in the 40s. That's definitely fall-like, and then that will move off towards the east, and we have another system coming by on Thursday, but most of the rain with that is going to stay down on the Oklahoma side. In fact, tonight rainfall amounts are going to be heaviest down to the south with additional maybe 4/10 to 5/10 of an inch of rainfall, and we're going to see lows tonight dropping down into the 50s to the north and west, 60s elsewhere with the rain moving away, and then tomorrow partly cloudy with highs in the mid-70s, a perfect day. Chamber of Commerce weather is what I like to call it. Then as we go into Wednesday morning, look at this. Lows in the 40s up towards the north, 50s elsewhere. And then Wednesday afternoon, another perfect day with partly cloudy skies with highs in the mid-70s. Certainly more fall-like out there. And then Thursday morning, lows in the 40s up to the north again with lows in the 50s elsewhere. And then a chance of showers late Thursday evening, again, mainly down in Oklahoma. But look at the weekend, especially for Friday night football. Temperatures in the 70s and lows in the 50s. And then only another chance of showers on Tuesday. So fall is definitely here, Dal.
Yeah, these temperatures look pretty close to ideal to me.
Absolutely.
Thanks. Demolition began on a building popular in Joplin's past, the Holiday Inn at 3615 Rangeline Road. was once Joplin's largest hotel, had 262 rooms, a popular lounge, and the Water Wheel restaurant. Well, the hotel ceased operation in 2016 in anticipation of a remodel that never came, and delays led to dilapidation. In recent years, the Joplin Fire Department has been called to the structure multiple times for fires. It's been labeled as one of Joplin's most dangerous buildings. Watch now as an explosion brings down a historic Missouri bridge. Kaboom! Just like that, the Missouri Department of Transportation live streamed this footage of the demolition of the I-70 Rockport Bridge near Columbia. The bridge over the Missouri River was built in 1960 and underwent extensive rehabilitation in 1993, according to MoDOT, but was judged to be at the end of its useful life. Traffic is now flowing again in that area. Crews have been removing the debris from the river to clean the channel for boat traffic. A new $220 million bridge is scheduled to be completed by December of 2024. Still ahead, Pitt State football is once again near the top of most recent coaches poll, and the Cardinals try to continue their winning ways on the road. John Dales has those stories and more coming up next.
Missouri Southern football is 1-1 for the second year in a row. The Lions are coming off a nail-biting 30-23 win over Washburn on Thursday. After the Lion defense put the game away with an interception, they want to do more of the same going forward.
Honestly, I was just looking at my man, and then once I turned in, I figured out it was a scramble. Like, my D-line was almost getting to the QB, and then I see a tip ball in the air, and I just went up and I grabbed it. And also, it was my first interception, my first career interception ever, so I guess I was saving my first for the best one, I guess.
Just watching the defense fly around and make that play obviously is great. We understand that there's going to be times where our offense is going to have that ball and they're going to need to punch it in to win the game for us. And so whichever side is called up will be the side that delivers the win for us.
Missouri Southern still on the outside of the top 25, but Pittsburgh State certainly is not. The D2 coaches poll released today, the Gorillas stay at the number 3 spot after a dominant road win over Fort Hays State in which they outscored the Tigers 27-0 in the third and fourth quarters. PSU is one of 3 MIAA teams to be in the top 25. Northwest Missouri goes from 5 down to 15 after losing to Emporia State. That puts Emporia State up to 12, though. Central Missouri not in the top 25, but receiving votes after a 2-0 start to its season. In the NFL, the Chiefs announced that the wait is finally over. 4-time All-Pro defensive end Chris Jones is rejoining the team after his month-long contract holdout. The two sides worked out a new deal for 1 year. It was agreed upon today. We do not know the specifics of it yet. All that we do know is that it's filled with incentives for Jones to make a lot more this season than would previously have been allowed in his other contracts. In local softball, Seneca picks up its first win of the season this evening on the road at Carl Junction. Abby Jamrose has a big day on the mound and at the plate. She goes 4 for 5 with 4 singles. The Indians take down the Bulldogs 9-6. Meanwhile, Nevada falls to 11-4 with a 3-1 loss to Holden. Tigers started their year with a loss. They then won 11 in a row before losing 3 in a row. They're back at it on the road at Logan Rogersville tomorrow. And in pro baseball, the Cardinals have shown some signs of life recently. They've won their last 2 series on the road against playoff hopefuls in Atlanta and Cincinnati. This game brings them to the start of the series on the road at Baltimore, and in the first inning, more of the same, that being success. Wilson Contreras lines a single off Dean Kramer into left center field. A run's going to score. Cardinals take a 1-0 lead. They're down 2-1 in the third when Nolan Arenado lines one into center. That brings home a run, ties the game up at 2. 3 batters later, more St. Louis offense. Jordan Walker rips a single through the hole. Another run's going to score. It's a 4-2 Cardinals lead into the 5th, but Baltimore down 5-4, and Cedric Mullins tees off on this pitch deep to right field and gone. That's a grand slam, and it turned the entire game around. 8-5 Orioles at that point. In the 6th, same score and a similar swing of the bat here. Gunnar Henderson goes deep. 25th home run of the year for him. Orioles go on to win 11-5. But tough loss for the Cardinals there, definitely. Back to football, though. Missouri Southern, one of the things most interesting about that, Khalid Jabril, you heard him say it's his first career interception. He's a 6th-year senior making his first career interception.
Wow.
Yeah.
But we hope not his last.
Yeah, I think
we'll
so.
See. Things are looking up for
They
Missouri
are.
Southern Lions. We'll be right back. The jackpot for tonight's Powerball drawing, it was an estimated $522 million. It's a lot of money, and it's the 3rd largest Powerball jackpot just this year. The cash option lump sum payout value, $252.4 million, to be precise. Well, it'd be approximate. The previous Powerball jackpot win was for $1.08 billion. That was the 3rd largest Powerball jackpot ever won. That was back on July 19th, and there have been 22 consecutive drawings since then without a jackpot winner, unless, of course, you won or one of your friends won tonight. Remember, I mean, it wasn't that long ago, it seems, when a $100 million jackpot seemed extraordinarily large.
It does seem like they're more frequent.
Oh, yeah, now it's commonplace.
Yeah, now it's chump change. $100 million.
Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. We have great weather in store for tomorrow with a high of 75 and then maybe some showers Thursday, but a nice weekend shaping up.
Final sports note.
That Monday Night Football game I talked about earlier, we were talking about it right before we got on the air. Aaron Rodgers goes down with an injury, but the Jets still find a way to win.
And we'll find out how severe that injury
we will.
is. Thanks for joining us. Morning show, 5 a.m. Let's make it a great tomorrow.